Welcome to the second video tutorial for Logistix, a premium Joomla template from Joomla Ecstasy. In this video, we're going to go over the administration of the site. So let's go ahead and go to the administrator of the site. Okay, now that we've entered the administration panel of Joomla, let's go ahead and start with the menus here. Let me show you a few things that are going on with the menu. So we're going to go here and select Main Menu. The main menu is what does this main menu here in the menu top left position. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the menu links now. Okay, for the home link, we just set it for a category blog. You can set that for whatever component, and we just set the blog to 0 items. And then this about is our single article and framework and whatnot. So this is pretty self-explanatory. But let me show you what's going on here in these special pages. As I said in the first video, we do have some new layouts here for Joomla. Portfolio center, left and right. And in previous templates, these were done in a page class. So I'm going to show you now what changed and how it's a little easier and better. So I'm going to go here to the Portfolio Center link. And you're going to see the menu item type is Portfolio Center. So all you need to do to create this kind of layout is go over here to the articles, and then you'll see you've got your selection here. Portfolio center, left, or right. It's been added right there in the menu. So now let's go ahead and see how you set that up. So you're going to go to the blog layout. Your leading articles are going to be 3. That's what gives you the featured item. So 3 here. And then as you see, the intro articles can be 4 or more, and the columns is going to be 4. And that's pretty much it for the menu. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's go back to the home page. And I'm going to get to the template administrator here in a moment. Right now we're going to focus on the modules and such. So first off, up here in the top left and the top right, let's go over to our module manager. And you'll see if we select position, top left or top right, you will see that we have custom HTML modules here. And I'm not going to get too deep into this, but I'll go ahead and open one and show you, because you should already know about a custom HTML module. But keep in mind, we are using our custom HTML modules here because it's a little better than the core Joomla one. So here you've got your Ahref to your users, client area. So if you want to use any other component for your login, say Jom Social or Virtuemart or whatever, you can just change the URL here to the login for that. That's why we did it like this. So now let's go ahead and let's check out the menu here. Like I said, the menu is here in the menu bar left position, and you've just got this set up as a normal Joomla menu showing the sub items. Advanced over here, you want to set this for responsive. It is a responsive template, so you'll want to set that for responsive. So we'll go ahead and turn to the responsive layout, and that's all for the menu. So let's move on now. Let's go here to what's going on here in the inset position. So in the first video, I told you that that was going to be custom HTML, and yes, it is. So here's the custom HTML for that. And you're going to notice these, the data SR, reset, wait 4 seconds, scale up 50%, over 0.6 seconds, ease in, ease out. And what that basically is scroll to reveal JS. So let me just show you real quickly how you can implement that for just about anything inside the template. And we have to thank Julian Lloyd for this wonderful open source project here. And here is his site. And as you see, this gives you an example of how this actually works. And so if you want a little more, you can go over here and you can fork them on GitHub. And here's the whole JS. And then he has installation here, which we've already done. Basic usage, here's the keywords. You basically just want to just study this a little bit and get familiar with it, and then you can write your own. But we're going to go back to the template now. And you'll also see here in the module class we have no pad, no margin on the inset for the module suffix class. You can look at the documentation for a little more explanation on that. So we're going to head and close this. Now let's talk about the video. So the video, we have special style modules, because as you've seen in the demo, we have 4 different styles, and we want to have different modules to show on the different styles. So we have style 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. So we're going to go to style 1 because we're working on style 1, and this is our YouTube background video player. Let's open that up. All you really need to do is just put in your YouTube video right here, and you're done. We've gone ahead and put the videos that are in the demo up on our YouTube channel, so you can use those, or you can just put your own custom one in. And here's some more stuff. If you have audio, you might want to turn the audio on, you know, the ratio, quality, and whatnot. So that's pretty self-explanatory. So let's go ahead and move on here. And then we've got more custom HTML modules here, and more HTML and Deluxe News Pro. So basically you can look over the documentation and figure out where these go, and it's pretty detailed on how it all works, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. We will look over here on the left, and you do see the social icons. Let me just show you that real quickly. So built into the template, we have a side left here, left side it's called. So we're going to go over here to the left side, and here are your social icons, and it's just custom HTML. So you could use our socializer wall for this, or you could use anything you want. It's just a module position that's fixed over there on the left, so you can turn it on or off and publish it on whatever page you want. So now let's go and talk about a couple module positions that you're only going to see on certain pages. So we have the position pathway. This is for the breadcrumbs, and that's below the component, and this only shows on Joomla content. So that's a core feature there, as well as we have one other position, article bottom. Article bottom only shows on Joomla content as well. And then on the Joomla content pages, on the item page, we have sidebar right and sidebar left. And basically the reason those are put in is, say you have a page that you're linking to, a category, and you don't want to have a right or left module, and basically what's going to happen is if you don't have that and you go to a page, it's going to inherit the category. So these will allow you to independently put a sidebar left in the left position or a sidebar right in the right position only on the Joomla content item page. In this template, we decided not to have any module positions to the left or the right of the Joomla content, and we wanted to focus on our buttons that we put in for the navigation, like we spoke about in the first video, as you see here. Of course, if you did put something in the right or left, they don't interfere with it, and in all actuality, when you resize the site, they go to the bottom. So let's go ahead and move on now. And let's go ahead and go to the template manager. And we're going to go over one style here just to get you familiar with it. So I'm going to start with the default settings. Okay. This is a bit of confusion here to some people, so I just want to document this well. Mobile device detection is off. The site is responsive. It will resize to browsers and to devices. The mobile device detection should only be used if you specifically want to use a mobile template. We've included a mobile template that has special mobile positions in it. You can read up on that in our documentation. But since the site is responsive, you really don't need to be doing that, so you want to set that off. If you set it on, then it's going to call that mobile template only on devices. You won't see it happen on your desktop, but you will see it on your devices. And since there is different module positions inside of that layout, you won't have any content because those positions aren't populated. So now let's move on to the layout settings. These can all be left as default. The grid style is default. You can make your own grid if you'd like. You can view our framework documentation about that. The template style, this sets which style you want, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Css3 Effects, there's only one of those. You can make another one. Typography, default is the only one right now. You can make your own. And then here we have, you can view the layout here if you'd like to see the layout of default or the mobile. And so let's move into the grid settings. And this is the basic layout grid. So you've got your main width wrapper there, and that's 1140, and that's basically the width of the site, not where the background images lay or whatever. That's just basically the width of the site. So the responsive features are here, yes or no. If you don't want your site to be responsive, you can simply say no. Now in the header area, you can make the header sticky. This has become popular over the last year, especially for mobile devices, is you have a sticky header. So you can set that as yes or no. Then you have your header padding left and right, your top and bottom, and your header fixed width or fluid width. The fixed or fluid means fluid would go from the side of the browser to the side of the browser. The fixed width adheres to your main wrap width. So if I set this for fluid, it's going to go all the way to the left and the right, except for the padding that you put on here. And if I set it for fixed, it would take the main wrap width. So here's your menu. We have a suckerfish menu, which is a single column drop down, a dual fish, which is a dual column drop down, and none. So if you want to use a third party menu system and not our built-in menu system, you probably want to go and select no for the menu style, just in case there's any conflict going on. This won't load our CSS for the menu style, so you can go ahead and put a different menu in and rely on their own CSS. And this is the main menu mobile width, and this is when we're going to go ahead and switch to the responsive mode. If you have the main menu set up for responsive, then it's going to adhere to this width when it's going to go ahead and it's going to hide the menu and move it over to the responsive menu. And your region configuration. We went over this in the first video tutorial, and this basically goes over your regions. We'll take one more look here to explain this. The template is set up in regions, and we can go here to our layout and we can take a look here. So here's region 1, is your inset in your top 1 through 6. In this template, we have the video area in inset. Then region 2, user 1, region 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can move these in different areas like we went over in the first video. So here's where you're going to go ahead and set up your default. So it's just basically with commas, 1 through 12. This is the separator between regions in pixels. And then we're going to get into the regions. I'm just going to go over one of these regions because they're basically all the same except for 3. I'll go into that in one moment. So you want your region 1 fixed width or fluid width. Again, that's going to be all the way to the left and the right of the browser or adhere to that wrap width. Mobile region hide width. Say you want to hide a region for mobile. So you've got something that's in there that is going to be pretty heavy for a device, like maybe a big slideshow, or maybe you've got something that's flash and it's just not going to work on iOS. So you want to just hide that whole region. You can put the width in there you want it to hide at. 0, it's not going to hide. So you put that in pixels. So now let's go down here to region 3. Same things here with the padding and everything. Now, we have the component in here. The component is in region 3. So you do have some options here for your internal padding of the component and your mobile hide width. And that takes care of most of the regions. They're all basically the same there. So then we get down here to the left and right columns based on the Bootstrap 12-column grid. So we're basing this all on Bootstrap. Bootstrap does a 12-column grid. Therefore, if you have a 3-column span for the left and you have a 3-column span for the right, that's going to equal 6. So you'll have a 6-column span for your content. If you need to get a little more visual of this, you can head over to the Bootstrap site. In fact, I'll go there right now and I'll just give you a little look at what it is. So maybe this explains it a little bit better. And here we are on the Bootstrap site. So here's a live grid example. So let's say you want your left to be span 2 and your right to be span 4. Your component and your content is going to be span 3. So this is kind of how it's going to look. If you set the left for 1, it'll be like that, 1. So this is a live grid example. You can head over to getbootstrap.com and check out all the different things that you can do with the Bootstrap grid. But now let's go back to the template. So now let's go down here to the module settings. Okay, and with the module settings, we have some options here. We have the mobile show suffix width and the mobile hide suffix width. We've gone ahead and made suffixes for modules. So if you want a module only to show at a certain width, you put in mobile show for your module suffix, and that will only show at the width specified here. And if you want to hide something, it's the same thing. You put in mobile hide for your suffix for the module, and it will go ahead and hide at the specified width here. So let's go ahead and move on now, and let's go to the style settings. As you see, we have 4 styles here. The settings are the same, so I'm just going to go over one of them. So you have your body front page. This is your body front page background color, if you want to have a background image, and the image position. In this template, we want to have a body background image to go ahead and open the site while the YouTube video loads. So we went ahead and put in our bridge here. You can select right here, and it'll select images from the template. This is your image position. We put in fixed, so it stays in place. Your body subpages. So that's for the front page, but we don't really want to have the bridge body background loading on the subpages. So for the subpage, we just have the color white, FFF. And then for mobile, the body mobile, we wanted to have the mobile bridge here. And basically all you need to do to go ahead and make your mobile images is go mobile underscore and the original title here. And we're going to get into that here once we get into the other areas, but right here we have the 3 different options: mobile, front page, and subpage. The style color scheme works on base colors. These are the base colors for this template and for this style, and you're going to see that they're used within the template. Basically, this goes for text colors and modules, background colors. You just really need to take a look at the site and see that, okay, this blue here, we can just change that to a different color, and then you'll see the change on the front end. These are more just the base color schemes here. So now we're going to get into the header. So let's go and let's look at our site. And let's see the header here. So we have a top header area here, and you can change the background color. Okay, the header wrap background color is going to be this whole area here. You can have a background image in there if you'd like, with the position. And then we have a background color for the header. Now that wrap is going to be the full width. So the header is only really in here. So you can have 2 different colors if you wanted, or 2 different images. Here's your website logo image. You select your logo here from the template, and then you put in your width and your height. This can cause some confusion for people because you might think that, oh, I just want to go ahead and resize my logo and I can do it right here. This is not the case. What you need to do is you need to upload your logo and you need to know the width and the height because we're calling it as a background image, so we need to specify a width and a height for that image. So if it's cut off, you need to change the width or the height. And then we have our logo padding. As well, we have a mobile logo. So maybe you have a website where you have a long name and it's really large and looks great, but once you start to pull it in or you get a mobile, it gets cut off and it's too big and you just want to switch it to maybe your icon logo. So you can do it right here, same settings, and here's the logo mobile swap width. This is the width in which the logo will change. Now into the menu, you have your wrap background color for the menu, background color, your item background color, hover, item active, and your font colors here. Same for the drop down. This should be pretty self-explanatory. So now I'm going to get into the regions. Every region, as we saw in the grid, can have settings. So you have your wrap background color, and that wrap is the fluid width wrap. It's the outer wrap. Then you have your background image if you want to have an image, your image position. Then you have your region background color. That's going to be the inner color. That's going to go to the 1140 width that's specified in the grid. And then you can have a background image, an image position, and you can have the mobile width. Now here's the thing about the mobile width is that, say we have an image in here. Let's go down to one of the regions with an image in it. Region 6. So we have bridge JPEG in here. We have our mobile width at 800. The bridge is really large. So what we want to do is we want to set the mobile width to 800, and we want to swap out that bridge for a smaller image. So all you need to do is name it the same thing, bridge, but you put mobile underscore before that, and you upload it to the same folder, the backgrounds folder, inside the template. And what will happen is, here you can choose to say, I want to swap it with the mobile bridge. No, I don't want to have background images on mobile. Or, yes, I want to have background images on mobile. So here we're swapping it. And this is the basic settings for all the regions. You can have your background wrap, color, image, inner color. So you can go ahead and see here that we have several images in the background, and then we're going to get down to the footer. This is your footer wrap background color and your footer background color. Here's your module. You can basically set up your module here with a background color for your default module. You can change the title background color, and you can have a first word color and a second word color. Right now we're not using any of this. We just have our basic styling of our module, but should you want to change the default styling, you can do it right here in the template manager. And then here is your typography styles. So you've got your body text color. This is going to be your body class text color. All your text will be this. Your page title color is going to be that. Your article title, category title, and your H1 through 6. Here's your links down here, so you have control over everything from the active, hover, to visited. So let's move on to the Css3 effects now. The Css3 hover effects. Okay, we have hover effects in here for colors and etc. that are going on. So let's go ahead and check out a few of these colors that are going on. Let's go to our style 1. And let's see here too. Let's go to style 4. You'll see here when I hover over these menus and these links, they don't just change harshly, they kind of fade. And that's the hover effect. So we've got that on certain buttons and throughout the template. You can go into the Css3 Effects CSS and go ahead and add your own classes in there. And this is if you want to run that or not, yes or no. And here's the transition property. We've got it set for all. And there's the speed. So if you want it to be slower or faster, you can set it right there. And the timing is ease in and ease out. Css3 responsive animation. This is kind of cool if, say, you want to show the responsive nature of the website to a client and you want to wow them. It's going to actually animate the responsiveness, kind of like what Masonry does a bit. So it's going to move things around, and it's more or less it's just a shiny, fun thing to show your client when you get done. Some browsers have some problems handling it, so we give you the option for that. We also have a CSS3 component animation that'll animate the component in or out. And then you have your scroll to reveal effects. I showed you a little bit about the data scroll effects, how everything kind of fades in and does that, and you can set up your properties for that. But let's say that you don't want to have that feature at all. You don't like when you scroll how things magically appear and move and do things like that. You just want everything to be static. You can just go ahead here and you can select no. Let me give you an example of that real quickly. So let's go back to the home page. And you see here these icons come in, this text comes in, This text flies in, this text flies in. Okay, we don't like that. Nope, and save. Now let's go back here to the home page and let's refresh. And now you see everything loads in right away. No pause, no animation, no nothing. So let's turn that back on. And let's go over to the typography settings. And here's your basic typography settings. You know, you've got your text direction, your global font size, your font family, and whatnot in here. This is pretty self-explanatory. You know, you can go ahead and change your component heading font, component font size, the main menu font size, the drop-down font size, all your H's and everything from here. And the advanced settings, you've got several modes for your CSS. This is how the CSS loads. We have several files of CSS inside of our templates, and they're loading now in separate files. If you want to go ahead and compress them to a single file load, maybe that'll save some time of your site load, you can try that. Some servers don't like that, so you might want to check that out and make sure that it works good on your server, as well as we have head embedding. It embeds it all in the head file. But for this case, we're using separate files. CSS compression, you can go ahead and compress the CSS. Like I said, this is server-based, so some servers don't like that, so you might have a problem loading your site. If you turn it on, you'll just have to test and see and ask your server about it. Now we have the front page components. In our template, we're not showing the component on the home page, so we've got no component selected. If we wanted to show a component on the home page, we could select all or whichever component is installed here. Include Jquery? Yes, we've got Jquery on right now. We're including Jquery. So we gave you this option to include Jquery in the template or not. In some cases, you might have a Jquery conflict, and this is a good way to check and see what's going on. If you're having a conflict with another Jquery loading, you can turn this off and see, turn it on, but it's probably best to include our Jquery and to go ahead and turn their Jquery off. And that's the basic tutorial of the template. I hope this was informative and helpful. You can go ahead and browse our full documentation for more information, and we look forward to seeing you soon.